Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. We'll start with the moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, could we have the roll call, please?
Jamie Girardi.
Here.
Christopher Poole.
Here.
John Moody.
Here.
Matthew Munz. Derek Contlitz.
Here.
Chris Williams.
Here.
Chairman Charles Gray.
Here. Proof of publication, please.
The items were advertised in the Tampa Bay Times on July 10th, 2024, August 7th, 2024, and August 21st, 2024, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a motion to approve minutes, please?
Motion to approve the minutes from the July 25th meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, motion carries. I'd like to take a moment to welcome everybody today and let you know that we're the Planning Commission. We're appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, and we are here to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. We make recommendations on comprehensive plan amendments, land development code amendments, rezonings, and conditional use requests. The Planning Commission is the final decision-making body for special exceptions, certain appeals, variance requests, and certain alternative standard requests. However, final decisions may be appealed to the Board of County Commissioners. If anyone is in opposition to any development code amendment, rezoning, conditional use, or any item where we make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, it's important for you to attend the appropriate Board of County Commissioner meeting. Those of you who are not familiar with the format of our meetings, I'll just run through it quickly. We have three sections. First, we have continuances. It's been our custom to approve a request for a continuance if it comes from the applicant or from a staff member, unless there are extenuating circumstances. Then we have consent items, and those are items where we have not received objections from the staff or the public. And we'll go through those items one at a time. If there's anything that we read that's on consent that you want to have heard today, raise your hand as we read that item off, and we'll be happy to pull it from consent and put it on with the regular items. And the regular items are those items that we will be fully vetting today, and we'll have opportunities for the applicant and respondents to come up and ask questions and tell their stories. Applicants will have 3 minutes to make their presentation, and then anyone who has questions or concerns will have an opportunity to come up and speak. They'll have 3 minutes, and then the applicant will have 5 minutes to respond to those questions or concerns. For those of you who have your phones with you, please take this moment to put them on the silent position so they won't interrupt anybody that's speaking. And before we start the regular meeting, we want to open the meeting for public comment on any items that aren't on today's agenda. Is there anyone here to speak on anything that's not on today's agenda? Okay. If you plan to give testimony today, if you please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn. Anyone who plans to come up and speak?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think we had one person that needed to speak for public comment. Did somebody raise their hand to speak for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, there are two people that have signed up for public comment, Nancy Hazelwood and Webster Baker.
Okay, this is Nancy, I believe. And Lester Baker, is he here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go right after Nancy.
You go after her. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Nancy Hazelwood, 34110 A Nice Place. I got a hold of this map of ecological corridors, and I was looking at it, and that's it, and it's upside down right now. But if you look at the bottom, you'll see where all this is, and for some reason, there's no Brooksville Ridge on it. But that's a high recharge area, and that's all our hills out there. And I'm hoping that's an oversight, and maybe somebody can put that into this map of ecological corridors and planning units. And that's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody from staff that would like to comment on that before we? No? Okay.
What?
We're good. All right, come on up. Will you
Sir,
state your name and address, please?
My name's Webster today, so I think I
Okay.
might have signed the wrong list.
Okay, we can probably fix that. Is there something, but it's something on the list that you want to speak about?
Correct.
So it is on the agenda today.
I believe it is.
Okay,
So
all right.
Would you like me to just wait and?
Yeah, and we'll call your name.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
As long as it's on the list, we'll get you. Okay. So Terry, I guess we can start.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item on the agenda for today is PC2, which is a zoning amendment in the name of Northridge MPUD Master Plan Unit Development, Northridge 829 LLC. It's a substantial modification to increase the residential density from 700 units to 770 units, detached and villas, on approximately 178.15 acres located south of and abutting County Line Road along the Hernando County line and 1.25 miles northwest of the Suncoast Parkway. The request is to continue the item to the September 19, 2024 Planning Commission hearing in Newport Richey at 1:30 p.m.
Okay. Let's just continue on with it. Is there anyone here that wants to speak on that one? Okay.
Item PC3
All right.
is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, Section 802, tree preservation and replacement. This item is being requested for a continuance to a date uncertain.
Okay. Is there anybody here to speak on this, on PC3? All right, I see no one.
The next item is listed as a consent item on the agenda. It is PC4.
Let's,
Why don't we take action on PC2 and PC3 first?
Move
Yeah.
to continue items PC2 to the September 19th meeting in Newport Richey, and item PC3 to a date uncertain.
Second.
you have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Okay. All right, Terry, thank you.
Item PC4 is a zoning amendment in the name of Evans County Line 80 MPUD, Master Plan Unit Development for Evans Properties Incorporated. It's a rezoning petition from AC Agricultural District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development to allow 300 multifamily units and 1,500,000 square feet of light industrial uses on approximately 80 acres located south of County Line Road, north and east of Lake Iola Road. Prior to this meeting, the applicant has requested for a continuance to the next state city meeting, October 8th.
What was that date again, Terry?
October 10th.
October 10th?
October 8th.
October 8th.
October 8th, yes, October 8th.
And that would be
Here at
Okay.
Dade City at 1:30 PM.
So, Mr. Chair, since this was not advertised as a continuance, I think that you're going to have to ask anybody who wants to speak today who cannot make the October 8th, is that what you said, Terry, 8th?
8. yes.
8th meeting. They can speak today, but they will not be able to speak again on the 8th. Everybody's entitled to 3 minutes to speak, so you get to pick today or the next meeting. It's up to you. But we do need to at least ask if anybody wants to speak.
It's actually the 10th.
Okay, let's get this straight. So it's,
Yeah.
what is the date? October 3rd?
October 3rd.
October
Okay.
3rd, okay, October 3rd.
So I'll repeat what I said. If you want to speak today, you can get your 3 minutes to speak today, but you will not be able to speak again and when this comes back on October 3rd. So that's up to you.
Okay? Just wait a minute.
That's up to the chair.
All right, so, is the applicant present? Do you have anything to say with regard to the continuance request?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Ron Pianta. I'm a senior principal planner with Coastal Engineering. My address, our address, is 966 Candlelight Boulevard, Brooksville, Florida, 34601. And yes, we are requesting a 1-month continuance to a date and time certain, which I understand would be October 3rd in these chambers in Dade City. And I'll be glad
Okay.
to answer any questions if there are.
All right, are there any questions from the dais at this moment? Otherwise, I'll ask for comments from the crowd.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there anybody here today that would like to speak today? Or do you want to hold your fire until October the 3rd?
Can we ask a question?
Yes, well, if you, yeah,
Question is,
I think you had, excuse me, I think you had a question first, would you?
But I don't want to spend the time talking. I just want to know what
You have to come up to the microphone and address your name and address, please. I'm trying to show everybody as much courtesy as I can.
I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate your willingness to come over and be here, so.
Yeah, no problem. It's Kevin Steele, and it's 30545 Bay Head Road. My question is, did they do a mailing? Because of certified, I heard that in the beginning that there was a mailing done. I didn't receive anything. I'm not sure if I'm in the mailing zone or not, but it's less than.
For the continuance, you mean?
Yes. No,
No, for this hearing.
For
The
this
answer is yes, they are required to do a mailing.
I did not receive the mail.
Well, it is within a certain distance, and maybe staff can address the required distance so that, but they are required to do a mailing. But they are required to post signs as well so that,
Yeah.
so that people know who aren't within that required distance.
Okay. Does that answer the question for you back there, or no?
no, I didn't. I was just,
No, you're gonna have to come up to the microphone, and we get your name and address, please.
I normally don't need a microphone.
Yeah, but we do because it has to be on record, so she knows.
Okay, my name is Jerry Hampton. I live at 18560 Hancock Bluff Road. My question is what is the purpose of the continuance for postponing this till October 3rd, I believe is what you said?
Yes, that's what we said, yeah. There's been a request by the applicant, and it's been our custom throughout the years, if we get a request from the applicant or the staff for continuance, unless there's some extensive reason why we shouldn't, it's our custom to approve those continuances. And evidently, there are some outstanding questions that need to be answered, so they don't want to move forward without those questions being answered. So that's my short version of the story.
Okay, I understand that. I appreciate that. I'm new to this, so I just wanted to know, how to get onto a mailing list or something, so you can, when we know when these continuances or when these meetings.
Excuse me, I have to punish myself. All right, so where's the bailiff? I apologize for
That's no
interrupting
problem.
you.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
No, I just
You're
wanted to
married
make
too,
sure
huh?
that we're on the continuous, and so we can get
Okay.
contacted ahead of time so we can make plans and,
Right.
be available to come here and listen to these
Right.
so-called meetings.
And that's one reason why we're suggesting that if we continue it, it'll be continued to a date that would be in this room, so, because that's probably more convenient for everybody that's here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, give me your name and address, please.
My name's Webster Baker. I live at 18293 Townsend House Road. I am an attorney, however, I'm here as a citizen and a resident of the area. I have some questions to add to the questions that you just mentioned. You're going to be answered. And I will not be here for the next meeting. I'll be in Atlanta on business. Has there been a traffic study done on the affected area of Spring Lake Highway and in that area? Because I know that we had a traffic study years ago on a road issue on Dan Brown Hill. The county commission put forth a traffic study, and that was 2014, and we had over 200 cars a day just on that dirt road. So that's something that I think they should address. What about safety and lights location? The Blanton Road, Lake Iola, and Spring Lake Highway intersection is a danger at this point already with traffic coming off of I-75. There is a hill just to the north, traffic coming south on Spring Lake Highway. Have they put forth any project in how to handle that? There's an issue of traffic accommodation and traffic control. The road widths, there's going to be 1.5 million square feet of light industrial out there, plus the potential for 300 residential homes, but the industrial will generate truck traffic, and how do they propose to handle the traffic, as well as the I-75 exit issues. What about county services, fire, police, waste services? We have difficulty at getting county services out in that area now. And have they made some accommodations or projections of how they intend to do that? We don't have county waste pickup out there. We have private pickup where I live. And so has that been something that's been addressed? What about the infrastructure of water and sewer? How has that been accommodated? Generally speaking, oftentimes, the county is willing to extend these services to accommodate the growth in hopes that the economic development will help provide back to the county. However, who's paying for these upgrades? I mean, all the upgrades should be paid for by the applicant rather than the county residents. What incentives have been given? Is it the property tax stuff? Is it an extension of, because that's often an issue too, property tax, the reductions and waivers to encourage economic development in an area. Has that been accommodated, and how is that going to affect the citizens that already have a high tax bill and tax increases? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming. Okay, if you want to, come on up. I need your name and address, please. And if you do want to speak, if you want to come up to the front row so you can get up more easily, whatever. I can't take questions from the audience without being up at the microphone because we have to record everything that's said. And that's a big job for this lady over here. So that's why when you raise your hand, I can't recognize you.
I'm Stephen Carey, C-A-R-E-Y. I live at 16033 Wards Court, Dade City. So I'm right off of Lake Iola Road. I'm very well familiar with this territory all my life. You got an intersection here with Lake Iola Road comes in with Blanton Road. And to make a left-hand turn back into Lake Iola, you're on a curve. There's no left-hand lane. You're backing up traffic. There's a curve with cars are coming around at high speed. This has been talked about for years. They're going to put a roundabout. There's no timeline for understanding. There's no money for this. You can't do an MPUD with this intersection, this antiquated intersection where it is, without doing some improvement to that at least. And also, as the gentleman said about the sewer and water.
Yeah, we'll try to, I hope you're making notes back there, because we're gonna have to give some,
So I'm gonna get with the county about this.
yeah.
It's a county, it's not a state.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be any massive rezoning until this section has been improved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming. Yes, sir.
My name is Roger Snyder. My address is 34553 Blanton Road, Dade City, Florida. Well, this was a surprise to me, and I guess it's to everybody that's sitting here, that this is going to be continued and not heard. Everybody here has balanced their schedules to be here. All you gentlemen, the staff, all these people here in this room, except for that gentleman that just got up and decided this is too hot.
You're gonna need to
a
speak into
subject.
the microphone, okay?
This is too hot a subject to handle right now. You've already said first, October the 8th, now you changed it to October the 3rd. I'd like to know the time, and I'd request that it be held here, not on the other side of the county.
Well, that's why we made it October 3rd, so it would be here.
Well, I didn't know that.
Well,
Maybe you should explain that to the people.
Well, we'd be happy to,
Yeah.
okay?
And remember to turn your phone off when you start the meeting.
I appreciate that, too. I do apologize.
Hi.
Hi, you gonna scold me, too?
No.
Oh, okay.
Lisa Moretti, 16331 Iola Woods Trail. In the rural area, changes to our land use really come down to two things, water and poop. This project is outside the utility service district. You cannot put 300 apartments on a well and septic. That would not only be unsanitary, but also a health hazard, not only to them, but to all of the residents surrounding that area as well. We do not currently have a way to supply water to this project, and there is no wastewater treatment system nearby that they can hook into. So there's supposed to be no more package plants in the northeast rural area. That's one problem. So even if you remove this project from the northeast rural overlay, you still have to get water and you still got to get the poop out. So you're presented with a weighty dilemma. Many of you were participants in the process of creating the overlay that residents fought so hard for and has been actually held up as a national model. If you approve this project, you're going to be chipping away at the rural area yet again. We've been watching it getting chunked away. If you approve it, you're also doing so without any way to supply utilities to this project, which I believe is contrary to state regulation. Therefore, it would be really short-sighted to grant this project with the current state of how utilities could be delivered. This is part of the Northeast Rural Overlay, and it needs to stay in the protected area. It was supposed to be an employment center. It was supposed to be lightweight impact upon the area. It would not substantially increase the impact nor cause problems with the roadway or impact all the surrounding wells. And remember, just down the road a bit, y'all approved a high-density RV park with a package plant. And we know that the package plants in an area just all of a sudden had some bad releases. And we know on Handcart, they just had raw sewer water out and about into the waterways. So, also, no matter what any traffic study tells you, models versus reality, we all live here. We know what's going on with that corner. And the only people that are going to be doing well off of this are Lifeline and the local hospitals and the trauma hospital all the way across the county. We already have a problem with our wastewater treatment facilities. You have a package plant on Lake Moody. We have wells and septic all around this project. It's just crazy. So now you have to consider if there's a way to deal with all that poop from 300 homes and 2 warehouses. We also have 2 warehouses in the vicinity sitting empty, Overpass Road and over at 52. There's nobody there. So why would we want to build 2 more warehouses? So as you consider this project, remember 2 things. It really comes down to just water and poop.
Okay. That keeps it simple.
Can I ask the staff a question?
Yes, you certainly may.
Has the applicant asked to be removed from the northeast Pasco rural area?
Victorios Pitos, Planning Development Economic Growth, no.
So you shouldn't believe everything you read on Facebook. Ms. Gilroy spreads false information. That's not a request of the applicant.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, if we get your name and
Good
address,
afternoon.
please.
Stephen Couture. I currently reside at 12119 Duck Lake Canal Road in Dade City. I just basically have a statement. My wife Nikki and I have been building what is our permanent home on 40 acres adjacent to Middle Lake Park and very close to the property we're discussing. Currently we have our herd of Florida cracker cattle, a heritage breed, grazing on our property while we build our home. Nikki is a 5th generation from Tampa, and I came to Tampa for grad school in the 90s and I never left. Because of the urban sprawl of Tampa, we decided to permanently move to Dade City several years ago, where we could live in an agricultural and natural area away from Tampa's high density. We were attracted to this particular area because of its protected rural designation and the inability of it to be densely developed. We now consider Dade City our home and have also invested in the Dade City historic downtown. Our current downtown real estate ownership is out of Olio Restaurant, ABL Brewing, and the Bookshop buildings. My wife currently serves on the Dade City RAC Committee. We fell in love with our property because of its unique biodiversity. It is situated on Middle Lake and has 4 springs that feed the lake. We are surrounded by agricultural land and natural beauty. Most of our neighbors have large parcels and livestock. It is truly amazing what wildlife lives in this area. We regularly spot alligators, deer, otters, gopher tortoises, and a huge variety of birds, including flocks of turkeys and a pair of yearly nesting eagles that Eagle Watch is monitoring regularly. Last year, Eagle Watch released 2 young rehabilitated eagles in this area because of how well they expected them to do. The current stakeholders may argue that this parcel is transitional since it's closer to the interstate and on a busier turn, but the interstate has already sliced through many important lakes, farms, and wildlife habitats. The current buffer is actually inadequate for the rural nature and environmental sensitivity of this area, and intensifying the density would be considered reckless. This area was included in the Northern Pasco Rural Protection District for a reason, by people with an understanding of Florida's environmental sensitivity and the need to have it designated rural land off limits to dense development. The planning was done over a course of 12 years by conservative-minded people to protect the land permanently, not to have a couple of public meetings where a monetary gain trumps environmental necessity. This land was designated as the Northern Pasco Rural Protection District to do just that, protect it. This property is located within this sensitive plan area and needs to be protected as such. At the current growth rate of Dade City, these lands are needed more than ever. Otherwise, where will the wildlife go? Will we have any farmland left? The beneficiaries of this proposed plan will only be the current owners of the parcel and the developers, not the current residents, farmers, and most importantly, the nature and wildlife that are found here. Our wildlife population and farmed land keeps being displaced by smaller and smaller areas of land available. Development cannot be reversed once this damage has been done. I urge you to vote against this irresponsible request. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And who's next?
Joan Kerwin, 14286 Hancock Bluff Road, Dade City, Florida.
Thank you.
This PC4 zoning amendment violates our Foundation of Growth Management Code and the Pasco Comprehensive Plan. This community contradicts the rural Northeast goals and initiatives of protection. Current policies are to maintain the integrity of the rural Northeast, including Lake Iola Road. Why would this community be approved when it directly conflicts with the Northeast Rural Protection Zone? As a licensed marriage and family therapist, I have strived to help my clients understand that what they say has to be congruent by what they do. That a lack of consistent behaviors lends itself to distrust, dishonesty, and discord, which over the short term breaks trust. I want to understand how writing the comprehensive plan under Goals Foundation for Growth Management 1F, protection of rural and agricultural areas, can be changed. when under Principles and Objectives for Growth Management 1.1b, Pasco protects rural neighborhoods and effectively limits urban sprawl. Further, under Policy 1.21, Comprehensive Strategy for Conservation, regulations that protect listed species, critical linkages, and wetlands, as this area is a fragile, lacustrine and palestrine documented area. Policy 4.34, Rural Neighborhood Protection, in quotes, Pasco shall continue to implement Objective FLU 2.3. Protect existing rural neighborhoods and its associated policies. Policy 2.3.1, Rural Character Areas, as Lake Iola Road is, these areas shall not be treated as areas in transition that have the potential for future urbanization. With these policies in the comprehensive plan, you are clearly mandated to protect Lake Iola Road and our rural Northeast community residents, of which I am one. To condone this plan or any future plans by potential carpetbaggers will be the obvious violation of the comprehensive plan and breach of public trust, which could result in costly legal proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I may ask the last speaker's name, as I didn't catch it.
I'm sorry. Could you just repeat your name, please, that it wasn't caught? Yes, ma'am.
Joan Kerwin.
Thank you.
Joan Kerwin. Okay, thank you very much.
Ivan Watkins, 16728 Old Johnston Road. I was raised in this area my entire life, and what I see happening here is our kids' future. I mean, I was able to purchase 20 acres and build a house on it for less than $500,000 a few years ago, less than 10 years ago. My kids, they don't have that opportunity, and you guys are taking it away from them if you approve this kind of stuff. I mean, all the high density development is just raising the price of property up. They're going to have an option of living in one of these apartment buildings that they're building, or into one of the cluster developments. I mean, why can't they have the opportunity to have be able to buy 5-10 acres and not be right next to their neighbor? But they're not going to be able to afford it because of stuff like this. I make my living on development. I'm a contractor, and so I hate to sound like a hypocrite. I'm not against building. I'm not against development and stuff. It's just that this cluster development, like why in that area? There's enough of it. Why can't we leave that area, for the original zoning like it is now? If it's 5 acres or one home for 5 acres, let's leave it alone. One home for 10 acres, let's leave it at that. So you got 80 acres, you can get 8-10 acre parcels on that. 8 homes, 8 kids that were born and raised in this area could have a nice piece of, nice home on a nice piece of property. But they don't have that opportunity. I mean, you're just taking that opportunity away from them, and it's not right. So I just wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak? Okay, so I'm assuming that those of you who do want to speak will speak on October the 3rd. So,
Mr. Chair, I think we need to at least ask the applicant if they want to address any of his comments now, or if they want to wait till October 3rd.
I would hope that he'd address as much as he can now, because I think the people that came here today, deserve to have some kind of response to those concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I will follow your protocol and answer some of the questions. I want to be careful that we're not hearing the case today, since we have requested a continuance, and have the opportunity to enter additional evidence into the record on October 3rd, and further answer questions and clarify the intent of the request. May I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please do.
Thank you. The first thing I want to say is that the request does not involve an amendment to the comprehensive plan. This site is located in a designated employment center. I believe the employment center designation has been in the comprehensive plan since around 2004, 2005, and the uses that we are requesting are consistent with that designation, so therefore we are consistent with your comprehensive plan. There was a question, several questions about traffic. We did complete a traffic study. That traffic study was submitted to your county staff. The county staff has approved that traffic study. That traffic study did recommend specific improvements to Lake Aola Road. The applicant has agreed to those. Regarding solid waste, we do understand that when the property is developed, they'll have to have solid waste service. That's going to be incumbent upon the developer and the end users to make sure they have that service. Regarding police and fire, your staff can clarify this, but my understanding is that the application was coordinated with those departments, and we did not receive any comments back relative to police protection, sheriff's office, or fire. Relative to utilities, we do understand that utilities are not currently available. The staff and the conditions of approval that are before you and will be before you on October 3rd provide the applicant with the ability to provide alternative public facilities if they develop prior to public facilities being available. We are also required to enter into a utility service agreement and connect to utilities when they are available. The only other comment that I'd like to make is that there is a list of MPUD conditions that are attached to the agenda that were formulated by your staff. We have agreed to all those conditions. Those conditions outline how development is to occur and what the applicant will be required to do when they do develop. Finally, this is a long-term planning project, and again, we're consistent with the employment center designation, which does allow us to plan for long-term uses on the property when public facilities are available and the applicant is ready to develop. So with that, I'll answer any questions that the Planning Commission
Yes, sir.
Could you address the question about how far out you did your mailed notice? There's an affidavit of mailed notice in the packet, but it's not clear how far out you did your mailings.
My understanding is that our staff at Coastal Engineering did the mail notice, and they did that mail notice in accordance with whatever your code requires.
Do you remember what the distance was?
Whatever's required by your code.
Okay, I'll ask staff that question after you're done.
It looks, just looking at the map, it looks like 1,000 feet.
It's 1,000 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other questions, Chris?
So just one question, I'm not sure if it's for you or for Mr. Pitos, but just the entitlements in an employment center for residential.
So,
The question is, does the EC Employment Center future land use carry entitlements for residential?
And I know it does, but I was just curious if there were percentages or how does that work?
There are percentages. The comprehensive plan was recently modified to decrease the mandate. I believe it was previously mandated at 20% residential in the EC flu, and now it is 0%, but the maximum remains in place. The maximum is 40% residential.
Okay, and that's for the entire employment center designation for each one, correct?
It generally works out that way.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I also answer the question?
Sure.
The number of units is 300, which is a relatively modest number, but the application and the MPUD conditions include a matrix which would allow those units to be converted to an equivalent non-residential use.
Sure, thank you.
I just had a quick one. Would you be willing, it's up to you, to address the reason why you're asking for a continuance, just for the benefit of all the people that took time out of their schedule to be here?
Yes, and I do appreciate that people have been here and taking the time to speak. I hope they can come again in October and speak, but I think the chairman summarized it pretty succinctly. There are additional things that we want to address, and we want to be prepared for a public hearing in October.
Okay.
Question. Terry, this one might be for you, but what was the timing of the EC flu versus the Northeast Rural Pasco? Which one was in place first?
Off the top of my head, I don't know which one was in place first. I do know that both were in the same time period, 2005, 2006.
That's my recollection as well, that they were adopted around the same time.
Same time.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Move to continue item PC4 to the October 3rd Planning Commission meeting in Dade City, 1:30 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion of the motion?
I just have one more question or comment to staff. Terry, since there's a lot of people here that had questions, normally your agenda memo says who wrote the memo, like who the primary contact person is for questions. This one, for whatever reason, doesn't. So it does have David Engel's name, but I'm guessing he's not the primary contact on this application. So who is, if people have questions, who would be the primary contact for this application?
I could give my name, Nectarios Pitos, and then also Mr. William Vermillion, senior planner, who's in the back of the room here today.
Okay.
Okay.
So if people have questions, they can contact one of you.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Have you a time for October the 3rd meeting?
1:30 p.m., sir.
Same time, same place. Same time, same place. Same batch.
Same batch.
Okay, so any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, October the 3rd, 1:30, right here.
Like they're the only game in town. There's other things on the agenda.
So we have a quorum on October 3rd.
I know some of you will want to discuss. If you'd please do it in the hallway, we need to continue the meeting.
Should I start? The
Okay,
next item-
Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item on the agenda is the comprehensive plan amendment. The next item on the agenda is PC5, which is a comprehensive plan amendment, and you'll be acting as the local planning agency for this item. It is PDE 24002, which comes in the name of CPAS 2314-301 East PD. It's providing for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 23, changing from COM commercial to PD plan development on approximately 29.01 acres of real property located east of US 301 at the northeast and southeast corners of the intersection of US 301, Gull Boulevard, and Roanoke River Way, and a text amendment creating sub-area policy flu 7.1.77 301 East PD, and a map amendment to the future land use map 2-9 adding sub-area map 2-977 301 East PD. This comes with a recommendation to the Planning Commission or to the local planning agency to find the proposed amendment consistent with the comprehensive plan by the Planning Development Economic Growth Department. And there's a presentation if so desired.
Okay.
Was this still on consent, or was
It's on consent currently.
Oh.
Okay, and we have one more that's on consent.
And PC6. Item PC6 is a zoning amendment. It is the companion zoning action to the comprehensive plan amendment I just read. It is in the name of 301 East MPUD Master Plan Unit Development, 301 East LLC. It's a rezoning request from RMH Mobile Home District and C2 General Commercial District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow for the development of 200 townhomes and 36,000 square feet of commercial on approximately 29.01 acres located in the East Market area. This comes with a recommendation of approval of the rezoning request with conditions to the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay.
And again, there's a presentation if desired.
Okay.
So, Terry, I think this one had some ex parte communications
Yes.
that needed to be read into the record.
There are ex parte communications from Planning Commissioner Gray, Moody, Pontlitz, and Girardi. And I believe there's also one from Mr. Poole.
Correct.
Although I don't have the hard copy of it yet.
And just for edification, I also
How'd you
will
get
be
all-
submitting one for the previous PC4 that we just,
So that one you
Discontinued.
could submit, but you were talking about the Evans one?
yeah, the one we just,
Yeah, we just submit that when it comes back on
all right.
October 3rd.
okay. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so, anybody here to talk about either one of those items? If not, we have two consent items. Do you have a motion?
Move to approve item PC4 and item PC5.
I think you mean 5 and 6.
I'm sorry, 5 and 6.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Okay, motion carries. All right. Jeremy, you got off too easy today.
He did.
He thought this crowd was for his.
Okay. I think we have one more motion to make.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries.